I'm double checking the waiting room, making sure, so I'll keep that open. Just thank you all for coming. Hey, Marie's going to help me by monitoring the chat. And as you all come in, it just has you muted. I just, just for people coming, I just wasn't sure, how many people would be chatting. So if we can, as you have questions, post them in the chat. And then there may be some that we want to address before moving on. But there will also be a Q&A at the end. So you can definitely ask your question. My goal is that whatever question you have, we answer it, or someone will. All right, so we're getting a lot of people in here. I'm going to share my screen because I think it'll make sense when you see it. Hold on. So can everybody see the, this is my history of the index detector.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Is that Terry? I recognize your voice. Okay. So
Yes.
There will not be a quiz on this, so don't worry about it. But I just wanted to show you a lot of everything that I'm going to share today came from this activity, and I'll explain as we go. I still want to make sure hey, Marie, do you mind if I make you a co-host, and then if people come in the waiting room, do you mind letting them in? Okay. So, and I just want to respect everybody's time. As they say, time is money. So, so we can keep going. Now, everybody, as you know, when you come in, you're mute. So, if you can't hear me or something weird happens, please unmute yourself and say, we lost you. But if it's a question about what you see, go ahead and type it in the chat, and we'll get to it. Now, I'm going to start. I have 2 mice. So I'm going to start with, where is it? We're going to start there. Okay. There are so many little things on this screen. All right. So can you guys see that? Okay, I see a couple of heads nodding up and down. Okay. So the short message from today is, when it comes to indexation of new content, you better ask Google nicely. And this is a little reference to my favorite movie, A Few Good Men. So now we're going to go into just a little bit of, if I can get it to go. Here we are. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I assume most of you know who I am. I've been in SEO for 13, 14 years. I've lost track. And I am an avid tester. I was in the beginning of SEO testing in 2015, and a lot of what you're going to see today is I'm going to do my best to present it as if we were in a test review, where other testers are present. But we've kind of done that before, so everything I'm sharing, I'm going to share it like a test, but we've got some proof on there. So I'm going to provide some context. I'm going to show you what I did with the 2 test sites that sort of led to this discovery, general testing methodology, what some of the updated findings have been since discovering this, and then take some questions, and then share with you what else is going on, what else is coming out of this research project. So if everybody's cool, we will keep going. I see a lot of people are coming in. So, Marie, are there any questions to start out with?
Not yet. Not yet. We're good.
All right. All right. Excellent. Hey, Chris. All right. Here we go. So I just really want you to know you're not wasting your time. And this has worked for other people, not just me. So, actually, the first one I'm going to share is, this is from Lee Witcher, and Lee's actually here. So, Lee, I don't know if you know, is going to just like post everything there. But Lee is someone who I greatly respect. I've learned a lot from him, from his approach to SEO, and he has specialized advanced training for SEOs, and specifically those using Quora. And so it works for Lee on that. And then now I've got some from Eric. He sent me in some graphics to show you that basically everything, once he started doing this, it grew tall, like tall green grass. So they went from 82 index pages to 520. Not bad. All right. Now, what I'm sharing here is this has been a long time developing. So I didn't just wake up this morning and decide this is how things work. So it's been running, this project's been running since August 28th last year. And it has, I have contributed a lot of hours to it, but it's been fun. And if you've ever dealt with server logs, you know what these are, but it kind of looks like the Matrix, but it wasn't that scary, I have to tell you that. So there was a problem. And last year we noticed it in the spring. There were times when Google would turn off JavaScript indexing, and then they would turn off regular indexing, and we didn't really have any way to document that. We were all bitching in Facebook, we were all complaining with each other, and there was, I'll tell you right ahead, this was Ted Kubitis in one of his shows was like, please, will somebody, we need to start, you know, putting this together, putting a body of work together so that we know what's going on. So for right, smart, or stupid, I went ahead and did it. Because partially for me, my SEO testing was at a standstill. I could not get any of my test pages indexed. And if you can't get them indexed, you can't find anything out. All right. So I'm presuming that this looks very familiar to a lot of people. This was right out of the Search Console, and I just ran out of time to find one that said discovered not crawled because I don't have that problem anymore. Now what I'm listing here basically is these are the reasons when all this started. I pulled these out of all the comments that I think all of us have seen. I don't think this is breaking any new ground. You know, the answer is usually, well, your domain is an authority domain. You don't have enough, and therefore that's why it's not getting indexed. Then my other favorite is Google knows before crawling what your content is about and if it's worth crawling. I'm trying hard not to editorialize here, but what a bunch of bull. Sorry. Okay, now the other one, which this is always fun, Google probably already has enough content on that topic, so they don't need you. And this was always always favorite. I don't have any trouble, therefore you just did it wrong. And part of the reason I wanted to hold this presentation is so that you all would realize you're not, chances are, you're not doing it wrong. If you've checked that little box, if you're in WordPress and you've checked that little box that says, you know, go ahead and let search engines crawl here, that's more than likely, if you have a problem, that's typically it. But if you've checked that and you're still having trouble, it's not you. So going back to, again, I'm sharing, the methodology, right? How are we supposed to do it? And simple terms, we're supposed to go to Search Console and put in our URL, have Google check it, and then request for indexing. Simple. So I did that. Now, for Site 1, it was daily testing where I published a test page every day, which means I had to create 7 HTML pages a week and then publish them in the mornings and check on them periodically throughout the day. It got so bad by the end of the year, I published 123 pages, of which only 8 were indexed. That included the homepage. I think that sucks. And so I was really frustrated. And then I decided in mid-February that I was going to totally change this. And I see Lee's comment, impressive failure. Thank you. So in mid-February, I was really pulling my hair out and just trying to figure out there's got to be another protocol. There's got to be some way to figure this out. We can't go on like this. And so I created a WordPress site. And I did modify, after January 1st, I modified the testing schedule to 3 times a week. So I'm banging my head against the wall less. And I'm happy to say that it began to work. And out of 33 test pages, 33 were indexed, 100% indexation. Not to rub it in, this is kind of like what it looked like when I first thought, okay, I think I'm onto something. And this is as of last week. I mean, it's still growing, and growing. So it still works. And what I found is it matters how you ask Google to index your content. And I will prove it. All right, so remember I had 2 sites. And one ran from the end of August to mid-February. Test pages every day. And then Site 2 was launched on February 14th. And it launched 3 times a week as well. Now, for everybody who says, well, the content quality really sucked. Admittedly, yeah, it was supposed to, because the plan in testing is to remove as many variables as you can, so you're only testing one thing. That's why there are no entities in here. That's why there are no pictures in here. Nothing. Historically, SEO testing has been the lowest quality content you can come up with in Google. And so, for instance, you want to come up with, and I will explain this, you want to come up with keywords that Google doesn't know about. Because if you use something that a lot of people have live content on, you can't isolate your test to see what's going on. So by using these unique words, we're able to, by looking for them, we can isolate the test pages and see what's going on. So there were two ways that keywords were on the page. Now the one is the way that we all do, where somebody comes to the page and they can see it on the page and it's in the content. Now the second one was set up in JavaScript so that the only way that, and this is an example, the only way that it would read A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K is if it had been render processed by Google, so that when it showed up in the index, that's how you knew that page had been rendered. So the goal was testing for 2 things. Is Google taking in new content, just very simple content, and then is Google processing it on the other side? Those were the 2 questions. It was not, can I get this to rank number 1? No, this is we're not even there yet. We're simply trying to answer those 2 questions. And if you're curious to know how to find words that Google doesn't know, just pretend you're cat typing, and eventually you will come up, you will search for a word, that Google doesn't know about. And when you see the little monster fishing, that's when you know you've got the right one. You don't want one that suggests, oh, did you mean, this, J.C. Penney? No, I did not. So you want to make sure that it's something that is very super simple. All right. Now this was the content of the second test site. Now, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know, was it the random alpha? Was it the lack of entities? Was it the lack of other media? I mean, I had no idea. So I thought, well, what if I just used, low quality articles? And again, 2 test keywords, one that you could see and one that Google could only see if it did rendering. So we've got we're comparing these 2 sites. So here's, I did everything. On the left was the site that started in August. So analytics, search console, sitemap, robots text, feed XML. I requested indexing via search console, submitted sitemap, sent low-level traffic. I didn't know what it was. And then on the other one, I did everything the same with the exception of I never requested indexation through the search console. And I set the site up directly with the Google indexing API being indexed now, and I sent low-level traffic. Now I know everybody's heard, it's like, oh, this is how you solve it. But this is why it's worth solving it using the API. 6.5% indexation versus 100% indexation. And does this mean it's going to be falling off the log to get your site set up to do it? Maybe, maybe not, but it's worth it. Now, a lot of people, when you tell them this, they're like, that's not true. Google requires that you have schema. Now, if you're a tester, this makes sense. Why you would test it, find out that it didn't work, go back later, try it again, and find it that it does. So at this time, there is no requirement for there to be job schema or live event schema on your pages. You do not have to believe me. You just try it. Convince yourself. Now, the other thing a tester does is that just because it happened one time doesn't mean it's real. So I created 3 more site setups. The third site was real content, high level of optimization, low level traffic, submitted through Search Console, and Bumpkus. The fourth site, real content, no real indexation, optimization, low level traffic, hooked it up with the API. Every single page was indexed within 48 hours. Okay, it's still not enough, right? Because now I'm wondering, is it the low level traffic then? Even though Search Console had it, but I just wanted to eliminate and really isolate that it was the API. So real content, no real optimization, no traffic, hook it up to and got the same result. I mean, it was giddy to say the least. And here was the real question. Can I go back and do some SEO testing with random alpha? And so I was like, nope. It was a nervous test because I knew I wanted an answer, but I knew I couldn't go down that road. So we set it up on March 4th. By March 5th, it was indexed by the keyword and the JavaScript keyword. So it works. It has nothing to do with your content. It has nothing to do with your authority of your website. It has nothing to do with Google having some sort of prescient sense of what you're writing about. And it certainly, obviously these are low quality pages, but I wasn't trying to rank them. I was trying to get them in. So if you have new content, there are 2 ways that you can do it. I'll go through the 2 different ways, but basically both of them involve connecting your site to the indexing API and the Index Now. Now for WordPress, their Rank Math has an instant indexing plugin that lets you hook it up. And then there's SEO Tools for Excel has an indexing API connector. Found that one out when I presented this information to a bunch of testers, which was great. So when you publish new content, you just let the automatic submission take care of it, and you do not request indexing from Search Console unless you just like writing a ton of content and letting it die. And again, this is for now, right? So if you, I can put this, I can send this out in an email so that you all have it. But if you want to write it down, because I say don't waste any time. If you're having any troubles and you're in WordPress, set it up. And the Rank Math blog, there's a step-by-step how you do it. You know, it does involve going into the Google Cloud and finding the API, and it's super, super simple. They have pictures, and you literally could just, if you had to, print it out and then just check off step 1, step 2, step 3. Now, there is a non-WordPress option, and this is, if you look for SEO Tools for Excel, you'll find it. They have an article on Google indexing. That is a paid, oh, thank you, Chris. That is a paid option, but if you're looking for indexation, I firmly believe indexation has to be the pathway to the dollar. So it's worth the investment if you're trying to get it indexed. Now we're at the question phase. So, Marie, do you have any that you've gathered up? Are there any in there?
The main question was, are you going to show this again or have this up for people to watch it when it's not live?
No, because you can write down Rank Math Instant Indexing Plugin, SEO Tools. That's all you need to know.
Okay, all right. So no other real questions about how to get it indexed or anything like that? I'm reading.
Okay. Let's see.
So